This is your weekend market review for Friday, January 31st, 2025. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka The Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for Friday, January 31st, 2025, the last day of the month. Talked about today in the Discord room, talked about in reoccurring patterns in my education videos that if the month is ending on a Friday, it's typically a down day, even if it opens up. At worst, you get pullbacks to close off, and people go, why? Well, again, it's all in the education videos, but the simple little answer typically relies around end of month profit taking. Again, people need to clear their books. They need to do things. And if you're green for the month, you might layer out a little bit knowing what. There's some profit to be taken. You want to really digest your wins. Again, this is why people don't understand. The big boys manage their trades. They're not all in all the time. They're not short all the time. They're not just cash. Sorry, they're just not 100% in with no cash. It's a different game that they're playing, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. Probability-based trading where you manage your positions. Cool? Great. Now, if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link description below. If you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. Use the Calendly link in the description. Let me know I can help. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, right? I mean, literally said this morning, like first thing oh, it's not on my account. Oops. One of the things we talked about this morning. Where is it? Oh, well, maybe I didn't post it on Twitter. Man, that would call myself a liar. Definitely said in the Discord room. Again, sometimes I don't even remember which ones I post on, but I always try to make sure I post my trades in the Discord room, right? Like that's the key here. That is ultimately the key here. Like trying to do the best we can to help people out. So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room. Here you go. End of the month, Friday, probably usually what follows. Here you go. Last day of the month is typically Friday, which should be down day. Actually, I'm curious to see how the gap holds. Didn't hold. Again, I apologize if I didn't post on Twitter, but also subscribe there if you can. Like, subscribe, and the notification bell. If you want to donate, cool. The link in the description below if you want to donate directly to me or through YouTube. I appreciate the love, support, generous donations. Again, I do this all for free for education purpose, knowing that the better you become as a trader, again, we all win. It literally is about lifting people up. And people go, well, I didn't ask for money. Maybe we will at some point. Right now, my focus is to educate trading. I want 20 amazing traders that I can rely on just as much as they can rely on me, because that's the thing, right? Like we all don't have endless time to watch every chart all day, all the time, in every stock. It's just not possible. So again, I appreciate all you guys in the Discord room who post your trades, post your thoughts. Again, we don't all have to agree. It's not some sort of cult where we all sit here and go, I'm right, you're right. No, and blow fluff of each other's butts. That's not what we do. So also check out tradingagent.com. Tons of resources. Education, again, the recommended reading. It's right here, y'all. Only 3 books. Not asking you to take a college course, literally asking you to read 3 books and get educated. Understand how the operators, the market makers work. Understand how volume and price analysis, how the market moves, repeating patterns, and then what to expect seasonality-wise. It's that fucking simple. Oh, no, you want to be sold some magic system? Okay, great. You want the freaking silver bullet. You want the magic pill. You want the snake oil. Go right ahead. All right. Now we know going into March, man, like 100% chance. Wow. I haven't seen this one at 100 in a while. Usually it's like 99 something. Interesting. No cut expected. May, June, July is when it starts. Again, if the market starts pulling back and peeling back the onion, that's when you possibly would see the odds of a rate cut increase, in my opinion. At this point, it's tough to say. Again, if you look at the economic data this week, it was freaking bad. Real bad. And PCE was up. So you have bad data and inflation. Oopsie. Not a good combination. So, all right, we know the Feds are kind of stuck in a pickle. Bitcoin seems to be holding up pretty well. Again, I don't really have much to say. Get over the 109, bullish. You get below 91, bearish. If not, you go into the chop cycle. Keep it simple, stupid. Oils, we talked about, likely going to bounce at these levels. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Simple stuff, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to rip back to the highs, but it's oversold near term. Natural gas, same kind of thing, pulling back, like it, love it, long term, let it pull back. The dollar seems to be holding up really well. Now, again, I think we're in a wedge until we're not. But here's the thing, right? Take out the ex-div, right? The dividend off of it came right back. We're still over the highs from before the ex-div. Keep that in mind. So the dollar is acting really, really well. Again, I'm not trading dollar, but we are watching it. Like, that's the key here. I don't need to necessarily trade everything, but I need to watch all of the mechanics within the market. Like TLT, right? What did we say? If this thing cannot get over the 80s, you got problems, right? You got problems, because that just means at worst you're going to retest the range lows, 20-day, or you play in the chop cycle. This is what keeps you from getting into trades and getting stuck. Now, again, if you bought a small piece and we're saying, all right, let's go, and it stopped out, that's cool. That happens all the time. Small losses are tolerable. It's the big dog ones that hurt real bad. The VIX, right? Seems to be what? Fills the gap. Man, that's crazy, right? I really didn't think we'd go from 22 back down to 15, but guess what? There's going to be lots of times where you don't know what's going to happen. Again, it's a probability-based game. If you're sitting here thinking you can just rely on certainty, then you, or my friend, have a huge ego and don't recognize that the market isn't meant to pay you money, dumbass. And that could be me, and was me at one point, right? Like, learning humility in the markets is really a big thing. It might be the most important thing you ever learn. VIX, all right, watching the 200-day, seems to be holding up. Keep an eye on it, right? Keep this simple. Look at the SPY today, right? Here you go. Here's your Friday action. It fills the gap. Boner. Gives it up. Now, again, you technically can't say it's like damage, destruction, end of the world. No, but it just, again, it's an outside reversal bar. Like, keep an eye on it, right? Like, again, when you see bars like this, they lead to probabilities of lower prices. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Right? Like, keep it simple, stupid, right? Here we go. Next. Q. Again, to me, the big dog of leader weakness. Look at this. Long wick. Fills the gap. Gives it up. Not making new highs, though. Do you see this? This could be considered a lower low. Let's duplicate. Where is it? Yeah, duplicate. Let's see what happens here. Actually, I think it should be going here, but whatever. 3 Mile Island, as Eric liked to call it. Keep an eye on it. I mean, IWM holding up. 100-day, 50-day. Man, this thing is getting tight. You got to love this because you get to go with. Let's try to speed up. All right, we're on gold. No, just kidding. Keep an eye on it. Like, this could be an engulfing outside bar. But again, new money, new month coming up. So don't be surprised if you do get new money coming in. All right, gold. This is where it's hard, right? I told you, the baby with the bathwater. It looks good. So if you did buy, your stop is at your entry. It's like TLT, right? If you bought it like 87, 88, expecting the big move and it doesn't go, you're out. It's that simple. If you bought the breakout, it needs to confirm. Silver, this is where it gets hard, right? I would love to see silver leading. I'd love to see silver at 30, 32, 35. It's not there. So the evidence says, if this is a lower high, be fucking careful. GDX. Again, miners tend to be catching up a little bit. That's all I can say. It's good to see them over making higher lows. But here's the problem. Like, is this a megaphone pattern where you make lower lows and higher highs? That's one of the hardest patterns out there to trade because it's like, it looks bullish and it looks bearish. And it looks like you're going to get confused like anyone else would because that's not what a trend would be. That's the opposite. That is choppy, sloppy shit. GDXJ, not confirming. This is where I tell bulls, for the love of God, junior miners are like the leveraged gold, the play. If they're not leading, you got problems. We need to get over the 51 area. If we don't, again, this could be a trap. This could be lead to more chop. And who knows? AEM, this one's been holding up pretty well. AG, and again, next week is big earnings, right? We've got some economic data with the jobs stuff, but you got earnings continuing. But you know what you also have next week? And this is my favorite week for earnings is you have the miners earning. If you've ever traded gold miners, they absolutely always shit the bed on earnings. I don't know why, unless you're in a bull market. They just absolutely get crushed. Newmont, that's where I'd be hoping, praying, anticipating some weakness in the miners. Here you go, and then they can bottom, right? You got to blow out the bottoms. You got to blow out the bulls. You have to like blow out this endless optimism on gold miners. And then they rip the freaking heads off of bears, and bulls get left watching, chasing the whole fucking way. That's what they do. Pass. Same kind of stuff. Looks okay. I just be careful. Taiwan semi. Right? Talked about like the 20-day. Man, look at today's action. Look at that hammer. MC hammer time. Oh. Keep an eye on this, right? Keep an eye on this. I'm like looking at this going, man, look at that son of a bitch. Keep an eye on it. That's all. Again, I don't know if I would trade it because I don't really see a clear, obvious answer here other than that the sector weakness is coming, right? Micron, yeah, AMD. I mean, these things have been throttly mess. 20-day. NVIDIA, short of 2025. I mean, it's so obvious. And everyone's still bullish, which makes it even more obvious that it could go lower. Just absolutely get fucked. And closing at 200-day. Again, I'm not really going to say that like they have to drop immediately because, again, this is what happens. Even in uptrends, you get kind of stuck. If you take out the primary trend line here, in my opinion, this was the primary. Retro raggy. And see you in the 90s. Again, I think this is the short of 2025. Again, but don't short it at the lows. Short it out and pops. Trade around your position. Again, shorting isn't a, you can only go down so much, right? Shorting is not a long-term thesis, in my opinion. It's just a trade. SMCI, I don't know why I even talk about it. Don't trust it. Intellectual property. Don't they have earnings? Man, why did I did the earnings? I didn't see them. Maybe I missed that. But again, I think if it gets bought out, it's a token buyout for charity, and it's not going to be at any premium. AVGO had a nice, pullback, held a 50-day, and then here comes the 20-day. What do we say when the 20-day is curling down after a big uptrend? You got to be careful. You typically become support or resistance, right? It was support, and then it was resistance. Support, resistance, support, right? And again, that's not really a downtrend. It's more like a consolidation phase. Let me see what, again, if you've been following the channel, you know what the hell I'm talking about. Go do your own homework for 1 moment, for 5 seconds, but you know what I'm talking about if you follow the channel. SMH, look at this, right? Ooh. You get the big drop. Now, again, this is why it's so hard when you're a bear, and sometimes even a bull. You don't get straight line moves. You get big drops. You get some consolidation. You get some oversold conditions worked off. That looks like game over for the next leg down. If you do, if you know what a Gartley pattern is, again, these are the ABC Gartley patterns. Again, keep an eye on this because if you do the math here, and this was 269 down to 232, right? Do the math. 37. 37 from 250 takes you down to 213-ish. And it's like, what's down there? Oh, man, come on, show it. Show it. Trend line. Hey, does it work out? Keep an eye on it. You're welcome. Adobe. Let's speed the ring. Adobe. This thing breaks the 20-day. Game over. Apple. Look at today. There's not a person on the planet Earth who can look at this candle and go, that's bullish. Now, again, I'm not saying like it's going down to zero and it's hell on earth for Apple, but near term, that don't look good, y'all. We talked about the bounces can lead to long wicks. Damn, that's a freaking shotgun barrel of a freaking bear gun. Shooting bulls. Amazon earnings next week holding up pretty high. Meta, we talked about the retesting of the trend line potentially. Got it. Simple. CRM, this had a nice bounce and then boom, pulled back. Again, double tops are freaking gifts. That's why you just have to trust and retest. Guggenheim, chopping, seems to be holding up. Again, I'm not going to short Google. I mean, it seems to be holding up. I mean, I don't want to short the strongest, right? I mean, Meta, if it had Meta has a reference at 2 there. Google seems to be chopping at the highs, but Meta just made a nice run, so it's probably more likely to pull back. Microsoft clearly better hold the 415 level. NDAQ, I mean, another pop. Doji, I don't know. Again, where's this end? This is what's hard, right? Like, because I do believe it's kind of like CRM. Like, it just popped back to the highs. It can do that, and that's where again we talk about it. If you shorted up here, you probably had to take some profits. If you stopped out of the rest of your position, man, earnings was a fucking weird one. All right, well, pray for a retest at this point. That would be the easiest trade. MicroStrategy, again, it says earnings next week. Breaking channel, Netflix. This one, again, we talked about hitting our trend line. Like if you sold calls, you cashed them in because premium burn. You have a reference now. High and tight could be bullish. That's all I can say there. Don't go crazy, but just define your risk. Roblox seems to be holding up well. PanW, we talked about this one. We like this one long term, but it seems to be playing a game at some support resistance area. Again, I like cybersecurity a lot. Tesla, again, this one looks very suspect. Here's the earnings pop.
I mean, we talked about this. Bulls and bears are going to get absolutely whacked, and this is what happens after a big move. You consolidate, and you pull back $125 a share, and people are like, oh, what do we know? And it's like, well, dude, you should have sold up here. And if you're a bear, you should have covered some, and you trade around. It's like, man, I could talk about this for hours, but let's just move on. Insight, keep an eye on this. Again, I think it's a buyout target. Wait for weakness. Hims. Again, I hope no one jumped the gun. We said do not short before the Super Bowl. Pray that we rise. Pray. It's, again, if you're a bull, this is where I guess I'm like a closet bull coming out of the closet saying, yeah, I want it to go higher because I think it's a better short at higher prices because the valuation, again, it's way too rich for a business that can be duplicated by the stroke of a pen or the enter button on Amazon. Right? The competition is endless. And so I would love to see the trend line rising into Super Bowl, squeeze the bears. We talked about the 31% short interest, squeeze the bears, capitulate the highs, get bulls going all in, get bears giving up. Then I'd like to see it pull back. Palantir seems to be holding up pretty well, calling all of NVIDIA's bullshit. However, you need to get over this 84, 85 area. McDonald's, chopping it. Again, holding the 200-day. DKNG, again, I like the short here. Man, it's over. Not meaning like over for the short, but it definitely trapped some bears and might be trapping bulls. Keep an eye on it. That's all I can say. Again, I like the short. I mean, we talked about it. We took the trade. You hammered it here. Now you said, okay, you're due to bounce. If you took profits, now you're just sitting here going, well, where's the next spot to enter? And sometimes in the probability of these games, guess what? It's not going to be easy to predict. I mean, I might pick tops and bottoms 30% of the time. The other time, it's more retest and just being close. Close enough. Horseshoes and hand grenades. That's all you need. Costco, we talked about this and everybody just chopping around. Costco, talked about this, got a nice bounce. I don't know if it can sustain. Keep an eye on it. Starbucks, we said this is probably an obvious short up here. Right? Meaning like watch what happens in these areas. Nice bounce. Again, their earnings. I mean, they don't have pricing power with coffee, which that's a real thing here. FedEx got cooked with UPS. But FedEx got cooked on their earnings too. So now it's a 2-day range. Watch the 260s. Good break. Caterpillar. I mean, these stocks are acting like tech stocks. 10, 15, 20% moves very quickly. Again, that's a lower high. You probably should expect at worst the 200-day 360 area. DE. Speaking of tech stock, look at this thing. It's like they sell eggs or something. Channel high. Keep an eye on it. Nice moving trade. I mean, these are stocks that are moving well. Really good to trade. Nucor, nice bounce post earnings, gave it up at the open, came right back. Now back at the 50-day, some resistance. X will get bought out at some point, in my opinion. It's just where do you get into the entry? VALE, keep an eye on this one because again, I mean, it feels like it's bottomed with that big volume, but it doesn't mean you can't get a retest. Again, you need to start anticipating a retest. Not every time, but this is the thing. Like if you buy at the lows, you roll up your stops for a reason. If you get stopped out, you can always buy back in. If you're in a freaking trend, you're going to get opportunities. Arrow and people go, well, you can just hold it. Well, that's a possibility too. Just what's your time frame? How are you trading? Are you trading for profits quickly? Are you trading for sleep well and just leave it, set it, forget it? Arrow, we like junior copper a lot. Let these play out. CCJ, again, this is a little suspect to me, but we'll keep an eye on it. Again, I like commodity stocks, but I want them to pull back. I'm just being greedy. Mosaic, same kind of thing. Chop, chop, fizz, what a relief it is. NTR, chop, 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 chop. Right, if you zoom out, you can see these are just big chop zones off the bottom. AA, I mean, I love aluminum. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's the future. Again, if you're going to build this tech future, you're going to need a lot of inputs. XLF, right, looked like a trap. We talked about that. Feels like it's making a retest of the trend line. Old primary or primary top of the trend seems to have mattered a lot. And now here we are retesting the highs. Keep an eye on it. JP Morgan, again, I like long-term puts on this. I think they hold the bag, but it doesn't mean I'll be right. Morgan Stanley, we talked about a lot of these names. Doji yesterday. Didn't have much today, right? I can go through all of them. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, not much to say today. Carry, not much to say today. Again, you're all at references making dojis, or if you're making new highs, you're looking a little tired. XBI, we talked about, this is a risk-on name. Hits a 200-day, backs off. Keep an eye on it. Jets, we like Jets. It's short, especially, again, if you're betting against Aaron Rodgers. 20-day breaks, game over. Game over. XHB, again, we talked about the housing index getting the bounce. Starting to look a little weak. Bees are home. That means, ooh, they're... Go read their earnings if you want. Not so hot right now. That Zoolander, so hot right now. Oh, no, that Hansel, so hot right now. Solar, chopping around. Chop, chop. It's like, Dan, let it load. Chop. First solar, chop. Again, I mean, I don't have a real position. I'm just moving fast. So if you have a question about solar, don't hesitate to ask. HYG, we saw a bunch of puts come into play again. I think you're being bought by JSOL's dropping some of those option trades. Again, appreciate the love, my friend. And a lot of puts being bought. Oil, we talked about it due to bounce. Keep an eye on it, right? UNG, oversold. I mean, I hate this stock, but oil, natural gas, KLD, we talked about shorting. I mean, if you didn't take profits down here, look at this. They can rip back on you. 30%. Keep an eye on it. XOP said so you have a 4-day action, right? 3-day action, whatever. Said this could be a bull trap, bear trap and rally back, or this thing could continue down again. And look what it did. That is not the close you want to see. Just calling it what it is. Valero, we talked about the gasoline names starting to weaken, right? Look at that. 200-day, boom, big red. And then today, more red. MPC, right? Hits the 100-day, red. CVE, like this thing looks like it's why isn't it bouncing off the lows? Something seems off, right? Again, I'm not saying you can't trade these names, which you can, but just be prepared. Like they could get slapped around too, right? Just don't assume always strength. ExxonMobil, range lows. BP, we talked about breaking the downtrend, looks good, but consolidation time. Occidental, right? I like Occidental. I don't think Buffett loses, but guess what? We talked about it. If it doesn't hold up around the 49, come up. Dude, the more weakness, the better. I'll buy in with you, Buffett, at the lows too, bro. I'll get on that trade. EQT, again, we like this one, but again, it's hard to break out and trust if the market has shown weakness at some point in Flex LNG. Again, I think we'll be natural gas exporters. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, don't hesitate to reach out. If you're looking to do a real estate deal, please do not hesitate to hit your boy up. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Peace in the Middle East. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, your PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.